We are approaching 1 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. Can't believe we're even close to this. Can't thank you guys enough. If you haven't already, please go hit that subscribe button. Lots of fun NBA content coming your way. The early DNPs, the early 4 minutes to go in a game. It's a 19-point game. Cam, get in the game. Those are your 4 minutes for this week.
Boiling. I get in boiling. Mad.
Yeah, I had to live it too. You're more talented than I was, but I had to live it too my first few years.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about that?
About getting in at the end? It's just
just about not know. Like when I say that, I mean not knowing night to night what your role is, what minutes you're going to play. I mean, my fourth year was the first time where I was like, all right, I'm either going to get in at the last time out in the first quarter or at 12 minutes to go in the second quarter, beginning of the second quarter. And that was the first time where I was like, oh, I know when my minutes are going to be.
Yeah.
It took 4 years, and when I look back on it, it wasn't even like staying ready because you're a pro.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of easy to stay ready because all you have to focus on is basketball and staying in shape and sharpening your skills and all that stuff. There's enough 3-on-3 and enough 4-on-4 with the guys who don't play that you can stay sharp.
Exactly.
I think the hardest part for me was not feeling discouraged and losing confidence because I feel like to some degree I got broken and I lost a little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
And it seems like you have not you have not been broken by the early experience.
Now the hardest thing for me was just, sitting there thinking you might get in this game. And then, you might hear some stuff, you like, be ready, we going to use you tonight. And then you're like, okay, you prep, you get ready, pregame warm up, you get more locked in, and you're sitting there waiting. All right, you're like, okay, I usually get in around this time when they do play me. So you're like, okay, that time goes by. You're just sitting there still waiting. You wait for the first half, really. So you're like, okay, I'm going to wait till the second quarter. Still don't put you in. You're just like, all right, man, forget it. Yeah, all right, man, forget it. And then, out of nowhere, third quarter, get in. You're like, your mind's not in it. Then you get in all mad because he told you he's going to get in earlier. So then you try to, I feel like that's probably the hardest part for me. Being told that you're going to get in and then you don't get in and they just throw you in out of nowhere. I feel like that was the hardest thing.
The mental fuckery of that.
Yes.
I love that you took us through the stages of that too, by the way.
I swear I went through that. It's crazy.
My last year with Stan, my last year in the league was with Stan, and we were playing a game at home, and in fairness to him, I sucked my last year. I could barely move, wasn't making shots to my normal level. And we played Milwaukee at home. And at that time, I was usually getting in last time out in the first quarter. Didn't get in. Second quarter comes, don't get in. By the time it gets to halftime, your mind is so warped and you've got a million different things. Now, it was much easier if I had gotten 4 DNPs in a row, because then
there's
not an injury tonight.
You feel me?
You're watching the game. There's no foul trouble. I'm not getting in. That is, for some reason, easier to deal with.
It is.
And by the way, with Stan that night, like there was no communication. It was just like, oh, I'm getting a DNP, and he didn't tell me. Gets the fourth quarter. I'm like, all right, I'm not playing this close game. DNP, whatever. He talked to me after. All good. I had to live it. But to live it again at year 15,
that was tough.
The PTSD that I got.
I know that was tough.
My first 3 years.
Came all the way back. I know that's crazy.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
Some of it, and you guys both experienced this when you're like a truly elite collegiate scorer. Like you're just the person who's filling up the box score every night, and then you come in and just even thinking about what it takes to get yourself in rhythm across the board, being like a 3-level scorer. If you have 3 minutes, 4 minutes, like how are you supposed to do that? So like, is it more challenging with the position you play than if you are a hustle guy or someone who's in there for defense or rebounding or something like that?
It's a great question.
It is a great question. For me personally, I feel like mine was more situation, as far as like playing behind Kai, James, and KD. Those three are the scorers of the team. So me, plus coming off the bench, obviously coming off the bench was tough. My first year, I never came off the bench in my life, so I had to figure out a routine for me to stay ready to come in and impact the game in some type of way. I feel like it's more for me. It was more situation and how our team was set up for me to for something like that. So mine was more situational.
Yeah. I would say in a blowout situation where and this is back when teams didn't shoot 43s a night. Like if it was a 19-point game at the beginning of the fourth, like a lot of times, because the games were low scoring. Like the game, it would be 81-64 going into the fourth, 77-58. You're like, all right, I'm going to play most, if not all of this fourth quarter. So it's a little bit easier to catch a rhythm. The ones that fucked me up were the end of the first half. Somebody's got 2 fouls. Somebody's got 3 fouls. We're already down a man because we're injured, and it's a minute 10 to go, and he's like, go in the game. Those are the ones that fucked me up.
Yeah.
I think a little bit early on, BJ Armstrong told me, he's like, 2 things. He's like, whatever minutes you get, you got to own them.
Yeah.
The second thing he says is, because he had dinner with me after a game where I played like 3 minutes at the end of the game and I didn't shoot. He's like, how can you find out if you're on fire if you don't shoot? You got to find out if you're on fire tonight. Yeah. So you got to get him up. So I was like, okay.
I definitely did that some games. I get yeah. I definitely did that some games.
No. Go to your package, Cam. Go to your package.
Nah, I'm good.
There's all these memories coming back. The other one that really got me was my second year. So my first year with Stan, we played Toronto in the first round. And we ended up losing to Detroit in the second round. Played Toronto in the first round. And this had to have been game 3 or game 4 because we were in Toronto. We won the series 4-1. I think it was game 3 because it was the one we lost. So game 3, we're losing. It's not going well. It's probably an 11-point game. End of the third. Haven't played all series. Stan comes to me. He's like, you're going in. I was like, sweet. So my mind works like, I'm going to go in. I'm going to hit a couple threes. It's going to be great. I'm going to provide some energy. We get back in this thing. And we're waiting for the timeout to end. And I'm standing at the scorer's table. And he walks up to me. He says, don't try to be a hero.
Like, what? What'd she just say?
What?
Why not?
I wanted to ask you, because I've asked, we've had some Brooklyn Nets games, and I wanted to ask him about just the communication with Jacque specifically. Because I look at him as like your coach pretty much the whole time because of how early this Steve thing happened. But in terms of the communication, like early with Jacque, when it was back and forth versus end of last season, this season, like how has that evolved? Is it a two-way thing? Do you go to him? Does he come to you? Like, what is that sort of balance like with Jacque and in terms of your minutes and what he's asking of you, just besides the scoring?
Yeah, I feel like it's gotten better. Or as far as me talking to him, it's gotten better. Like we got a better relationship now. As far as I can go up to him. He can come to me and talk. As far as like the communication, asking what he wants of you. Me asking like stuff of him, obviously stuff like that. I feel like communication is great.
Did you go to him last season at any point and be like, Jacque, what do I got to do? What do I got to do to earn consistent minutes?
I feel like at one point, we was on the road, but we was home about to go on the road. We had like a little stretch against San Antonio, Phoenix, and I was just frustrated because I'm like, okay, I think Kai was out, and and KD was out. So I was like, I should be playing. Like, I can help the team as far as like filling the scoring void. So I think I didn't play the game before, or I played a little bit, and then he just took me out. And I was just, I was frustrated. I'm like, I can help the team right now. Like we don't really have no scoring out here for real. So, I was a little frustrated. Then we communicated, and I played in the San Antonio game. I played a good amount in the San Antonio game. Had a good game. Played in the Phoenix game. Had a good game. So that's when it, it kept going. So I feel like that communication part of it is big. So I'll just keep doing it with him. He'll keep doing it with me. So
I feel like it's an important lesson to learn because as a player, we oftentimes, I don't know your environment, but oftentimes like we grow up and the coach is such a person of authority.
Yeah.
And I think in the NBA that still is true.
Yeah.
It's not that, but the gap.
Yeah.
Right. We're almost peers.
Yeah.
And so I think taking a little ownership on our part in terms of communicating, and I had to learn how to do that.
Me too.
For sure.
Me
and
too.
then once I learned it with Stan, it was easy. It just was natural the rest of my time.
Me too, yeah.
But I think that's I really believe that it's an important step because number one, I think what we lose sight of as irrationally confident human beings, and I would say most NBA players are irrationally confident human beings. What we lose sight of is the coach has got to worry about 14 other guys, and the coach has got to worry about the training staff report and what the front office want. It's a lot of management, and it's not just about, as my dad used to always say, it's not just about you.
Yeah, true. Yeah, at that moment you're like, and it's like, oh well, he does. We do have 13 other guys. They probably feel the same way, whoever. So, you just sometimes you just got to take yourself out of the situation and just look at it from their perspective. So that's what I really learned from it.